So, Rebecca,
So Tara.
now you're writing sales copy for an event.
Okay.
How do you get butts and seats?
Well, I wave my little fish wand
Right?
and they just appear.
This is how I do butts and seats. I ask Rebecca to write me sales copy and you guys show up.
They just show up. It's
Right?
awesome.
It is.
Okay, again, this goes back to when you're putting together stuff for the event, especially if it's an event where people have to take time out of a work day or child time or something like that. What you really need to sell in that copy is the benefit and the fun. Okay, nobody wants to come do something that they're not going to enjoy or that sounds like work, and I cannot stress that enough. One thing I have learned over the years is that there's two things you should be doing when you're planning an event. If you are not going to offer food as a benefit of your event, then I feel strongly that your event probably needs to be free or almost free. If you're offering food, then you can do a paid event, and you want to market the heck out of the fact that there's going to be food there, because people will show up for food if they won't show up for anything else. You guys, we're all social creatures at the end of the day, and if we're coming out of the house to do stuff, we want to know that we're going to eat and we're not going to miss a meal. We just are. It's America. That's how we are. So when I'm putting together my copy for event, it's important to me. It's got to have the location information, and hopefully it's a location that I love, like this one. We love Old Chicago. They're very, very good to us. You want to really stick to the facts. You don't want to overwhelm people with information. You need to include your event date, your time, the address where it's going to be, what they can expect when they arrive, if they need to register online, if they need to pay at the door. I'm a huge believer in registering online ahead of time for two reasons. If I have you register online ahead of time, I have you in my sales funnel, which means that the next time I have an event, you guys are going to get notified of that, and you probably want that information. And then I can follow up with you and find out, did you enjoy yourself? The other reason is it gives me a number to be able to share to the venue, how many people I'm expecting, so that they can have enough waiters on hand or enough food on hand, because believe me, there have been times we haven't done that and the results have not been good. So you want to have what they can expect when they arrive, how you want them to register, and I believe in fun graphics that are indicative of either what they're learning or what they're going to experience when they get there. So like if I'm doing a networking event, I want cute little photos of, I prefer the cute, but I want photos of people shaking hands and making connections, so that visually people know this is an event where you're going to make connections. If it's a learning event, then we're looking for things that indicate learning to people. Like, I don't know how else to explain
Well,
it.
but in that case, because a lot of the times I'll do the graphics for it, you want to have, and just get in the habit of, if you do an event, I will tell you that a lot of times we'll put a picture of everybody on the left smile. Okay, we'll put an actual picture
I
of
love this.
what it looked like, because people are, and this is the funny thing, you're having an open event. You're having an event where you're inviting human beings to it. You feel like you've accomplished everything you're supposed to, right? You've invited them. But I will guarantee 90% of the people want to be expressly invited. I am like a lot of the times we'll use, we are personally inviting you. Everybody welcome. Please be sure to bring a friend, invite somebody. If you know somebody who might not get this invitation, but that you think may benefit from it, please share it. I understand that an invitation or an event listing is literally like, you sit there and you just want to bang your head against the wall and go, well, of course you're welcome to come. It's an event, but most human beings are nervous. They really want to know what it's going to feel like when they get there. Oh, we're expecting 30 people.
This is huge. This is huge, especially when it's going to be networking, for lack of a better way to explain it. If you're having a networking event, it's really, really key that you let people know, hey, 50 other people have registered for this event already. Because what happens is a lot of us use a tool known as Meetup to put our events on. People are terrible about their RSVPs on the meetup. In Colorado, I understand it is not like that outside of Colorado. You can go to any other state in the union and people will RSVP and mean it. And they don't if they don't. But in Colorado, you will have one of two phenomenons happen. All of the people who RSVP on Meetup will not show up, and 52 that didn't will be there and never have told you they're coming. It's Colorado. It really is. But what I found is that registrations for events where there's networking involved definitely get a much better response when I tell people 50 people have registered for this event, 30 people have registered, because nobody wants to go to an event and show up and be the only person there. And if they're using Meetup to find out where they're networking or where they're going to, that's so deceptive. And if they're making their judgment based on what they're seeing there, it's not going to be accurate. So I make it a point to keep that number updated. And when you guys get that information, and you see it coming through and it has a number on it, those people have physically gone to my lead capture page, put in their name, address, phone number, and email, or whatever I'm asking them to do, and said, yes, I will be there. And it's a process, so I know the chances are if they have gone through that step to put all of that information in, they're planning on being there. Maybe some of them won't show up, but most of them are planning to do it, or they wouldn't have gone to all of that effort. So by the time I translate that number back out to you guys and I say 60 people have done this, 60 people have physically gone and registered to be there, if that makes sense.
So if you're doing a seminar or an event like this, there's some really good tricks that we have. We send you guys reminders.
That's a big deal.
That's a huge deal. That's why we wind up with more people than the average bear does. We had 31 people registered. Count how many people there are. And we have about 25 people. We've had people coming and going from the back of the room. 20? So we have 2/3 of the people that registered actually showed up, which is huge. Usually you can count on about 50%. We don't want this to be giant. Like, we don't especially try. We don't advertise it as much as we do like the one that's coming up in a couple of weeks. But that reminders of saying, hey, it's going to be next Tuesday. Hey, don't forget it's coming is huge. It's really big to say how many people are already signed up. I don't know what it is. It's something psychological. Humans like to go where other humans go. And if you hear, oh, okay, well, there's 30 people signed up, you don't feel like, oh, I'm going to go be sitting in a room with somebody picking apart my sales copy by myself. You really need to say what's in it for them.
Yes.
So, like, you guys did not come here. Some of you sort of came here to help us with our taping, but if we said, hey, we're taping this and there's nothing in it for you, you're lovely people, but you're not going to come and do that. So every single thing you want to talk about is how it's going to benefit them. Now, I will say that the sales copy that we write for this class is the most god-awful sales copy. It's a miracle any of you showed up. It really is. It's like, hey, come to our video thing. We're talking about sales and SEO, right? For this class. For our normal sales classes, we have really good stuff. But it's also, are you marketing it to the general population, or are you marketing it to people who know, like you, and trust you?
Right.
You know, in this room, there's probably only 7 people I don't know by name.
Right.
And 5 of those I probably know by sight. So, you know, there's a big difference. If we're relying on the fact that you already know us, then we can kind of say, hey, we're selling free pickles, and we'll get some people to show up. So, like, if you're trying to attract a crowd that's not your crowd, you have to be a lot more interesting.
And I also feel like you have to educate people in going back to what they can expect and what's in it for them. If your event is a non-sales based event, like you're not selling them stuff, you're just strictly educating or giving them an opportunity to coagulate or whatever, then I feel like you need to convey that. Like, you need to say the words, there's no selling at this event. This is educational only, or whatever. If you are having a sales based event, I feel like you owe it to your guests to warn them ahead of time, to say to them in the nicest possible way you can, hey, You're gonna learn and see a lot of great stuff at the event, at this event, and you're gonna have the opportunity to purchase things. Please come prepared. Right?
Well, I think a lot of times you kind of don't want to talk about that, but if you're doing a sale and you need them to come with money, I want them to know to show up with money,
Otherwise, they won't.
right?
Yep, that's all.